Ding, 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 ding.
What's going on, guys? Logan, JYA, Orchestrator here. They announced the new ORCUST support a little while back, and I have been stewing on how badly I want to start playing ORCUST again. Now, mind you, in the TCG, we're going to be waiting a little bit to get these new cards. So, to hold us over, I've got a current format ORCUST build to whet the appetite and to get you prepared to play this deck before the new stuff comes out. Start getting your reps in, understanding what all the cards do, and then when the new stuff comes out, you're going to be blown away at the ceiling, all right? Now, if you want to see new support stuff, be sure to smash that like button and comment down below. Tell me you want to see it and we'll make it happen. But if you want to get a head start, be ahead of the competition, and know how to play ORCUST better than anybody else in the universe, check out this profile. Let's dive on in. All right, my friends, Orchestrator here, and to get us ready for the new support that's coming out, if you want to get your reps in with ORCUST, they just got a ton of reprints in the Bonanza. You get this core for super duper dirt cheap, and it's a powerhouse of a strategy. Even now, facing off against the meta, you're going to be able to steal wins, steal games, steal locals, maybe even steal regionals, maybe even that YCS. But I don't want to keep you waiting. Let's hop into the deck profile of one of my favorite decks of all time, ORCUST. All right, guys, you already know we got to play 3 of the star of the show, Mr. YuGiOh, the primary normal summon. Shout out my boy Senko for this guy. He threw that to me yesterday. Yeah, man, powerhouse, foolish burial. You want to max him out at 3. So even though we're doing this profile pre-new support, I'm going to talk about some of the things that make this deck crazy in the future. This card, in combination with the new Galatea, is absolutely insane, getting to use the token for the 1. And it really makes it so if this gets impermed, you care even less, especially if you have literally any ORCUST name in your hand, you're going to be able to extend your plays even further. But right now, he's still a very powerful starter, so we got to max him out. Next, triple copies of Harpoor, recently legalized at 3 earlier this year. He's your guy that lets you special summon from deck. And post new support, he alone will be a powerful starter because you can normal summon him and go straight into the Link 1. But for now, we got to pair him with ways to discard or ways to send him to the grave. Gearsu's going to be one of your main ones. We got some other guys who are going to be showing off in a little bit that help get the job done. But all in all, it'd be silly not to max out this guy. He was banned for a long time. He was banned for a reason, and that's because he's so darn powerful. Moving on, we got 2 Symbol Skelly. This is your summon from grave. Important for playing on the opponent's turn. I like playing 2 of this in case one gets a little bit tricky to recycle. Having the 2 of them in rotation feels really good and really safe. And again, this enables a lot of your main interactions the opponent's turns, such as summoning back your Ding Gearsu, get that free send, or extending through interruptions if you're getting hit with hand traps or whatever it may be. That 1 extender can turn itself into a Symbol Skeleton, and bringing back Galatea from grave, continuing to climb up. You get the idea. Next, we're only doing 2 copies of the Nightmare. This one's a little bit worse because you really can't normal summon it. That's what makes it tricky. It's a little brickier compared to some of the other names, like Harpoor, like Symbol Skeleton. You can't summon it into an existing body and link with it and play with it that way. So it's a little less preferable to see in hand, but we still got to play the 2 of it because it's important for not only its accessibility that it gives you to any other ORCUST name, or the World Legacy Wand, which is an important extender. This is how you get to it. But that attack modulation effect comes up all the time. You're going to be surprised at how often people are going to go and try and swing over an IP Masquerena, and you're going to catch them with their pants down by going damage step, Nightmare effect, send the World Wand, boost it by 8, now you're not clearing it anymore. It's crazy, but it comes up. And then I invoked its name earlier, but the 1 World Wand is a mandatory extender because it gets your names back from the Banish Zone. You recycle it off Galatea, you get the idea. I'm still choosing to play the 1 copy of Gizmek Orochi. I think post-new support, we're probably not going to be playing this guy anymore. There's just not a lot of room for him. The extra deck gets jam-packed a little bit more, so we don't really use the boss monster that goes alongside this guy. But right now, given that he's a level 8, given the fact that he banishes a heck of a lot of cards and enables one of our nasty win conditions, I really think he's still worthwhile to play. So if you're trying to get your reps in now before the new support comes out, consider giving Gizmek a try. And then we are playing a small warrior package. This is the same one that I've been playing since this deck first got Harpoor legalized. It's just 1 Grepher and 1 Armageddon Knight. Even though we have multiples of this available, it gets too cloggy to play any more than this. You got the 1 Rhoda to search out both of these. I think 1 and 1 is enough. It turns the Rhoda into whatever you need it to be, and seeing these guys on their own are really important play starters or extenders. Moving on, we got triple copies of Ash still in the main. I'm still choosing to main the Ash. This can counterplay some of the Charmy Chummies, whatever you may call them. stop your opponent from getting those crazy draws off of that obnoxious hand trap. Also still one of the best points of interruption that you can have on an opponent's turn. Generally speaking, got to be careful. We're playing against the fire guys. You don't want to get this snagged out of your graveyard. Makes sense. We got to be cautious, but still a powerful generic hand trap. Now, the one thing I could see myself cutting this for is the Dominus Impulse. That hand trap is absolutely bonkers, and it does not conflict with our strategy. So again, I'm a little 50-50 on it, if I would keep this guy in or not. If I had Impulses, I love the fact that it stops the Charmies, but at the same time, Impulse is a crazy card. I leave it to you to decide what you think is. Now, in that same breath, I'm going to talk about playing the Charmies. I don't choose to play in this list. Of course, I don't own them, so go figure. Also, the main deck is pretty tight, and I rather play things to shut down the opponent rather than drawing the cards, because one thing that's true about ORCUST is that you only have so many ways to play. After you resolve Harpoor, they're all hard once per turns for their own effects, so you really only have, drawing so many cards and extenders is really only going to ever get you so far. I rather have means of shutting the opponent down rather than to be playing harder. Hopefully that makes sense. Again, swap these out for Impulses if you have them and want to give that a try, but right now, Ash, generically speaking, very good. All right, moving on to another main dude in the show here. We got 2 copies of Fenrir. Listen, I used to play this guy at 3. I probably would still play him at 3 if I had the 3rd copy still, but right now we're rocking on with 2. It makes room for a little bit more of a beefed up Horus package you'll see in a sec. Now, not the monsters, of course. We're still only doing triple copies of Yemseti and the 1 Happy because the other ones really aren't necessary, and we don't have room in the extra deck for the rank 8s, the extra rank 8s, so we just keep it to the bare minimum. But we are doing all 3 copies of the King Sark. So I mentioned this earlier. If you wanted to, you could swap out one of the King Sarks for another copy of Fenrir. Fenrir is crazy going first or going second. Honestly, dude, breaking boards with this guy, it's still insane that this guy is at 3. So honestly, pick your poison, which one you think is better, but where it came to 3 is having too many Orcus in hand and not enough ways to get him into the graveyard. After the new support comes out, that's not a problem. Normal summon any one of them and you're taking a dump with the other one, and that gets it into the grave so you can play with it. But without that right now, triple King Sark is feeling pretty good to me. So that's my feelings on this. And again, what this gets you into is crazy. It gets you into either a negate to stop you from getting hand trapped when you're going for your real plays, or it puts up Zombie Vampire, which can find you ORCUST monsters if you didn't open them, so it's crazy. Continuing on with our spells, though, we play triple copies of Droplet. I always say that Drytron is the deck that plays this card best, but you know what deck plays it second best? I gotta say it's ORCUST, because again, getting those cards out of the hand, that's one thing that we struggle with sometimes, is when we got too many names in hand and not enough ways to play with them, Droplets dumps them to the grave for you while negating your opponent's board. So yes, we're gonna max this card out. We're also doing 2 copies of Talent, good going first or second card. Again, counter those hand traps, pairs nicely with the call by. This is kind of like that 3-card package. Back in the day, people used to call the Solemn Brigade 2 Solemn Warnings and the Solemn Judgment. I think this is like the Hand Trap Brigade, the anti-hand trap. Okay, whatever. There's no catchy name for it, but I choose to play this little package here as our 3 cards for dealing with hand traps. And again, this one serves double duty as being a board breaker. Got some other powerful one-of spells, 1 copy of Foolish, and 1 copy of Rhoda. We already talked about what these are getting you. This is literally any ORCUST, and this is your Arma or your Dark Grepher. And then we've got our ORCUST targets. So we've got the 1 copy of Babel, 1 copy of Return, and 1 copy of Crescendo. I think you need not play any more than 1, even post new support. Oh my god, it gets so crazy because our new Link boss monster post new support can put back Crescendo for you. Dude, that feels pretty good, all right? I'm not gonna rave about it too much, but post new support, you can search Babel off the 1, and you can put your crescendos back afterwards with the 4. But also, you can always use your regular Galatea, our main chick, since we're getting Babel off of the 1, we can always use her to get crescendo off the 2. And guys, if you want to see new support content, I am more than happy to put it together for you here and there, and I can already tell you it's crazy. So get hyped, get excited, we'll put it together if you want to see it. Impulse, I'd probably swap out the Ash, but to each his own, and to each his own wallet. All right, we're gonna move on into the extra deck real quick. This one has pretty much stood the test of time. We got 2 copies of Galatea, 3 is unnecessary, all right? You only need the 2, especially post new support, you're only gonna need the 2. But this is what gets you Babel, Crescendo, or Return out of the deck, recycles all your resources, and don't forget it can't be destroyed by battle when it is linked. You got the 1 copy of the Long Duck Dong, another important piece of removal. Remember, you only have so many ways to clear off things from the opponent's field while you're playing ORCUST. This is an important one of them. Whatever it's pointing to, or if something has an arrow pointing to it, that's a linked monster, meaning you can use its effect, shuffle back 2 to send it to the grave. And it's got that destruction protection effect too when it's linked. And then we got the OG, the GOAT, ding, 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 Ding Girsu. We play him at 2. He's a rank 8, so we can hard make him with the horses, but more oftentimes than not, we're slapping him on top of Galatea. We're either using that send, or if it's turn 0, we're using that reattach for our primary combo. Next, the generic links, we got the 1 copy of IP and her no longer expensive cousin, 2 copies of SP Little Knight. Isn't it cool that this guy's nice and cheap now? So no excuses. We're gonna play both copies of it because we can make this card super duper easy, and you're gonna find yourself wanting the second copy, especially if you're going into a grind game. This deck grinds better than most. So again, super duper powerful, and using this to remove key points of interaction on the opponent's turn, crazy good. And the more generic stuff, we still got to play the 1 copy of the Link Spider to go along with our Ding Girsu. It's mandatory to use with the token. The 1 copy of Dark to steal things out of the opponent's grave, climb on up. 1 copy of Barrowboard Blocker to get those bricks out of hand. Let me tell you right now, we're sure as heck not playing this guy after the new support comes out. There's no need to play him, which is great. We can clear him out for things like the Link 1. But right now, we do got to play him. And then finally, Topologic Zoroboros for the Link monsters. This is that big guy I was talking about that works with the Gizmech. This is one of the few decks in the universe that can still play this card, and instead of something like Access Code, this has got some insanely unique interactions for banishing the entire board or going for game with a lot of banished monsters. He gains 200 for each on either opponent's banished. He's kind of like a Grand Maju in that way. But give this card a read if you haven't had the chance to, and you'll realize quickly how crazy it is in this deck. Rounding things out, we got our Exceeds, the 1 copy of the Zombie Vampire. This is what you do if you don't have access to ORCUST monsters when you're using your Horus stuff. You try and search for them. Also hitting Fenrir off of this feels pretty darn good. And then the 1 copy of the Photon Lord. This is an awesome negate. You can throw him up pretty much for free off of the Horuses, and it feels really good to do so because it insulates you from Ash on Harp. It insulates you from Nibiru. I love starting with this guy when we have the chance to do so. Card number 15 in the extra deck I do like is the Typhon. Now, listen, I've always criticized this card that you usually only summon this if you're in a losing situation. That still kind of holds true to an extent, but I've had a few times where I've been able to slap this guy onto the field and make a comeback, and having the opportunity for that comeback makes him worthwhile to play with the 1 extra slot for him. And he's a dark too, so even if we get locked in later in the turn and we've gotten our board broken while we're trying to go through our combo, we still have this as an option we're not locked out of. All right, that's it for the extra. Let's move into the side deck. This is an important one, guys. The side deck is what's changed the most about this list, and I have tried my best to curate it for the current format. Before we show that though, Harp Horror Field Centers still available on the site. Hit the link in the description down below. Check out the Logan JYA site if you want to get your hands on these. But let's start off with our side deck. First and foremost, triple copies of Ghost Ogre. I think this hand trap's insane right now. There's a lot of Centurion where I'm playing at nowadays and eviscerates them. Not only the Centurions is this good against, it's good against a lot of different things. Knocking out that Azamina spell card, the Continuous, oh, that feels good. Yeah, you've got things you can use this on, and I think it's a phenomenal card to put into the side. Following that one up with the Drollin Lock. Okay, I love it when people try and Droll ORCUST because it does so little against them, but I still love this card as a high impact hand trap going against those really broken combo decks, and I already know the one that comes to mind instantly for me is Drytron. If we got matched up against that, it's gonna feel pretty good to have the Drollin Lock ready to go. But there are other decks it's applicable against as well, including the Fire King variants. People say that they can play around it. They absolutely can, but they have to have their cards to do so, so the Droll can be a massive punish on them. Next, we're playing the free version of Droplets, triple copies of the Dark Ruler, no more for those Build-A-Board decks. I do think it's worthwhile to play. Again, we can't really afford to play anything like Lava Golem or Sphere Mode in a deck like this. We do kind of need the normal summon, so having the Dark Ruler no more is the next best thing in terms of blanket negation. And then we're going to close things out with a big Thrust package. So we got 2 copies of Thrust going along with our going second Spell and Trap removal, that being the Lightning Storm, the Harpy's Feather Duster, and the Evenly Matched. I say Spell and Trap removal, this is generic removal, these 2 guys, and this is exclusively Spell and Trap removal, but I think they're all important to play, especially in combination with the Thrust. And then finally, the 1 copy of Dimensional Barrier. I wanted to jam a lot in here, so I thought that a Thrust package was the best way to accomplish that goal of being able to play a lot of different strong cards, so that is what we ended up doing there. But that's all I got for whetting the ORCUST appetite this time around. If you want to hear about how we can play with the new support after it comes out, we'll even before it comes out, to do some content on it, you just got to let me know that you want to see it. Tell me in the comments, smash that like button, let's get over 100, and we'll do a follow-up video with the new support. Everyone, I appreciate y'all being here. Logan JYA, Orchestrator, signing off. Have a great day, and I'll see you beautiful people later. Peace.